what I've come to realize now is this. I think rap as the most popular genre is on the way out. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think rap is the pop, which it is now, the same way rock was in the 80s or whatever. It's on the way out. And I think it partly because like the genre has become very diluted, especially within like, you know,
it's watered down now.
You just have like clones of other people essentially and all this.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that people are going to stop listening to rap. No, rap as a genre will continue doing its thing. It'll continue to evolve. It might come back because everything comes back. But I think as like the main genre of music and form of music, I think it's on the way out.
What do you think is going to replace it?
Really? Yeah, I was going to answer that question.
It's a good question. I think like indie rock, kind of like that thing. I think that style is kind of like the way I'm seeing. Like,
can I tell you my problem with your take?
Yeah, go ahead.
Rap has always created culture, which has popularized everything, right? All the dances, all the TikTok trends, all that stuff. So when you eliminate rap as the most popular, rap carries culture. It carries much more than like maybe what indie could carry.
Yeah, but rock carried culture.
Did in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, think about the hair.
That was before we even
think
knew.
About
this is like early hip hop days, right? Hip hop has pretty much carried our culture, whether it be like through entertainment or whatever, for the last 30 years.
But that's the point he made. Like rock was that way too. It's just that the culture will change, which is a good point. So like maybe instead of seeing it like sonically, what's the next pop? You actually have to look at like what genre is coming up and creating a culture that people will buy into, because maybe that's actually more important when you look at like what's like the most poppin' genre. Because I think people do attach themselves, like when these things come up, they do create a culture and there's the dances. The thing about rap too though is because of its like poetic nature, you can kind of put it to any genre too though, so it never will like actually die. You can make rap anything, rap, rock, rap, funk, rap, fucking whatever, house music, electronic music.
I want to say something, and I hope I can articulate it in a way that doesn't raise any questions, but I think hip hop will always maintain its culture because it comes from a culture of like an African American background, right? With jazz back in the day, right? You have other music that copies a lot of the shit that hip hop culture represents, right? And I think black people have swag. Like there's a genuine like artistry and swag and dance that like white people can't replicate, right? We had Eminem, but in a sense, no, I'm being serious, right? Like, and we talk about like culture vultures, right? What has been the most stolen culture ever?
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something.
I think it carries weight because, like, even now, like you have like when Kim Kardashian like wears braids, like people have a problem with that, right? What is she replicating?
Yeah, black culture. Yeah.
And that's why I think that in a sense, like I think society can evolve into something else, but I also think that like we're gonna be not we, but like society will be held back because the culture that rap brings and hip hop brings is from an African American background, which I've done like a lot of like background on, and it's like it's such dope shit that is not written in history that you know African American jazz players really brought like poetry into music and things like that when it came to like hardcore rap in like the 90s, right? But I think, and again I hope I'm articulating this well, that that carries weight. Like that culture, African American culture, carries weight in our society.
I agree with you. I mean,
in a positive way.
Rock came from black people too.
Correct.
So, but then, so like maybe
like R&B and shit like that.
Maybe it's just another genre that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I think now, like to go back to your point, is like rap's watered down, right? Now rap has like 100 different rap genres right? Like you have like drill, and you have like Drake tried to replicate like the Caribbean rap,
you have Caribbean,
you know, and just little shit like that. You have like your West Coast, and you have like your New York rap, like all this. Like you have so much shit now. Now you have like these, not now, but mumble rapping, and you know that was cool for a couple years, right? So I don't know. I can understand where you're coming from. I don't know if like indie is like the way though. But maybe, I can understand.
Maybe I'm wrong. That's just like that was just like what I thought. But you do bring good points to what you're saying, which to me just changes like maybe like the future. So it's not indie music maybe, but it's something else. Yeah. But I do think rap is on the way out a bit.
I don't agree,
at least
but I
it
mean, I'd be
changes.
interested to see what happens.
Or at least it changes.
I can understand, yeah.
Like, what is rap? What is a rap artist now? Are all artists not rap artists to some extent? Like, I'll be hearing like a pop song and I'll be like, honestly, that's kind of rappy. Like, have you heard like Ariana Grande? Like Ariana Grande in that one song.
Exactly.
Like that's like
it's
taking.
Who is doing the rapping,
Yeah.
right? And who is it catering to, right? Who's Ariana Grande catering to? Younger white girls.
Yeah.
Most likely, right? So you put hip hop on there, it's gonna look a little weird to like parents, right? Like these white parents, right? You put pop on there, it's, oh, I'll let my kid listen to that, right? So,
but it still has elements from
correct,
it. Yeah,
correct. And that's what I'm saying is that like a lot of our culture and a lot of what's cool now roots from hip hop and rap and what these people are doing. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, that's not only here though. I think in general, like if you look at Brazilian funk, that's a totally Afro-Brazilian derivative. Like, but it's one of the biggest. It's basically the biggest. Pagode as well, which I love the genre. Yeah, is also primarily came from Afro-Brazilian culture. It's the same way. So like your theory checks out.
I don't even think it's a theory. I think it's like
it's probably true. Legit. Yeah, like so.
I think it's just an observation. The reason I'm making sure that I'm articulating as well is because I just want to make sure that the point is emphasized. Like, I acknowledge like I'm a white man, right? And so I just want to make sure that my case is presented in like a healthy conversation way, not like
I feel that. I mean, even as like, okay, so I'm starting to make music, and if someone came up to me and they were like, but you're Brazilian white, I don't know, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're making this music. But it's like, in general, with like the culture vulture conversation and cultural appropriation, I think like if you're respecting it and you understand it and you understand where it came from, then there's no problem.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
And it's like, there's a lot of gatekeeping nowadays in general, though. People
100%.
Really don't want to share 100%. Anything like, with other people.
Yeah, and that's a big problem in some societies as far as music as well. It's like only a specific group of people can listen to this, right? It's like, well, music can actually be listened by anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I like, isn't the point of music for us to enjoy it together with each other or whatever?
Correct. I remember when To Pimp a Butterfly came out and like, it was like, oh, this isn't like a... I know we're kind of like touching subjects here, but it's not for like a white person. Like the whole album is to like spark conversation based off what's going on in African American communities, and I think in one of the songs like he references like white on black crime and things. Like that. So like the whole theme of not the whole theme, but it is touched on. It's like, oh, you like white people aren't going to understand this. It's like, well, that's not exactly true, right? Because these are just themes, and I think these are good things. Like, it's good to have these conversations. It's good to have people that aren't like you try and understand different realities.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe they wouldn't understand it, but this is like a thing for them to kind of open their eyes a bit.
Be like, that sounds different than what I'm used to, but I understand.
Like you're listening to Good Kid, Mad City or something, and he's talking about his life experiences and the shit that he's been through. That gives you a bit of an insight of like, yo, like look at this life that he had. Like look at the stuff that he had to see. Look at the stuff that he had to do. Look at the stuff, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you don't understand, but that's in a place for you to kind of get a feeling for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, and I think a lot of like culture appropriation is definitely... It's like we just like learn these words and then we're just like, we're going to use these in like every single like... sense.
It doesn't make sense to me because like, I mean, yeah, people just want to tell people not to do stuff and want to be like, no, this is how it is and this is how it is, this is right and this isn't.
Yeah. Cam, what's your take?
I like music
and VR porn. That's the running joke now.
No, but how do you feel? If I don't ask Cam like a specific question, he's just like not going to talk.
Yeah.
How do you feel about culture appropriation in a sense, or even like in music, right? Because you listen to a lot of like rock and like alternative stuff and shit like that. So you're pretty much on brand as being a white man who listens to that sort of shit. Right?
I'm an old head. Genuinely. I'm an old head.
Yeah. So like when it comes to people like stealing or culture vulturing like other how would you word that? Ways of life? Art, mimicking art, I guess.
Entertainment, art, ways of life. I don't know. Yeah.
Like how would you feel about that?
I mean, is mimicry not the sincerest form of flattery?
Flattery, yeah.
Like I feel like if somebody, if like, I don't know if I should, I feel like if somebody were to want to do the things that I do or like that my culture does, like I'd be proud of that. I'd be like, this is something cool that my people do that people want to do also.
Mm-hmm.
Who's my people?
The whites.
No, I hear exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true. I mean, I've heard that theme being brought up in certain rap songs too. Even that it's like, oh, you know, your white children want to be us and shit.
Correct.
I mean, it's partly like, you know,
That's part of the allure of being like a star, though, right?
100%.
Like the baddest motherfucker is the rap star.
100%.
Pac,
They
Biggie,
want that.
like,
Yeah.
that started that whole wave.